Hi guys, Harry here from the Art Gear Guide. Thank you so much for joining me today. As you can tell by the title, this one is the Christmas gift guide, the stocking list gift guide. The other lists that I've created have been, I've tried to specifically aim them towards certain artists. So like the artist list is for artists that are going to be doing their own work. They want to sell it, so all the products in that are light fast. With the artist enthusiast list, that is just high quality products that I personally love and that are not very expensive. The book guide, well, that's just pretty self-explanatory. And the other one was the luxury gift guide. Now obviously the luxury one is just something that we all oogle over all year round. Come Christmas, if you can afford it, if you've got that type of money, then you can indulge yourself or indulge your loved ones, the artist loved one in your life. The stocking filler list, well, that is just smaller items that I have selected that I personally think are really quite valuable to any artist. I don't know about you guys, but when my kids were growing up, our stockings, when we put them by the fireplace for the kids, we're just filled with tat and stuff like that, you know, oranges, sweets, things like that, chocolate coins, and a few little presents that would go inside them. But with these items here, what I've tried to do is I've tried to select items that I think are really valuable, but don't actually cost a lot of money. And whoever you give them to, or if you want them for yourself, they will actually serve a purpose for you. So the first item that I want to, and there's no particular order here, but the first item that I want to talk about is the Caran d'Ache palette. Now I have this on my stocking list nearly every year. The reason why is because I think this item here is so super valuable to artists who enjoy using watercolor pencils, anything water soluble basically. The Caran d'Ache palette is two-sided. It's got a rough side and a smooth side. With the smooth side, you can use like water-soluble markers. So things like the Winsor & Newton water-soluble markers or the Spectrum Noir markers. You can use the back of that and mix your colors on there and then pick them up with the blender or whatever and apply it to your work. The rough side is excellent for water-soluble pencils, water-soluble crayons, that type of thing, something that's waxy, and it allows you to apply as many colors as you like on the palette and then get the water and then mix them all in on the palette. And then basically what it does is, if you can only afford or like a set of 12 watercolor pencils, something like this is going to really help you transform those pencils because you can create a lot of different colors. Now you can do all of that on the paper, but I've found that using this palette makes things a whole lot easier. Gives you a little bit more control in terms of your mixing ability, because obviously if you apply two colors on paper and then you activate it, that's pretty much it. On this palette, if you don't go dark enough or you need a little bit more pink or whatever, you need a little bit more yellow or blue, whatever, you can add that on the palette and just keep adding as you would do when you're working with watercolor pans or anything. So really valuable product. And there are lots of different things out there on the market. I know that you can replicate this for like chopping boards. You can get some chopping boards that are like got that rough texture, plastic chopping boards. I know that. So but it's up to you. This Caran d'Ache palette's out there and I particularly love it. The next one is the Derwent canvas wrap. Now this one is again very inexpensive, but I find it really excellent, and especially for people that are pencil artists that are out and about. And the reason why I like it so much is because when you're sat down somewhere on say like you're sat on a park bench or something and you want to just sketch a tree, with the Derwent canvas wrap, when you unclip it and you fold it out, if you've got a table or something like that, that's great. It'll just lie flat. But not all the time are you going to have like a flat surface in front of you that you can use. So you can just drape this thing over your leg or just have it across your knee, and everything's still going to remain in place because of the elastic bands that keep all the pencils in. but essentially, if you're sat down on a park bench, there's not normally a table in front of you. Something like this, which just keeps everything in place as you drape it over your knee. You can just take out pencils and slot them back in again, and then, just keep going. Obviously, it's not just for people that are out and about all the time. It's a really nice and neat little way of keeping your pencils together. And then if you need them when you're doing a drawing, you just unclip it and roll them out, and they're there in front of you. So that's the Derwent canvas wrap. The next thing is the Pentel water brushes. Now, I know there are a vast array of water brushes on the market. Lots of companies do them now. The thing is that I love about these Pentel water brushes is the shape of them. The way I think it's more about the aerodynamics, the way they hold in your hand. I think I have found that they fit perfectly in your hand when you're using them, more like a pen. And the way they've got these shaped, I have found that with all the water brushes I have, the Pentel ones seem to have a little bit more water in them, and they also seem to have, or give you as an artist, that little bit more control with regards to the water flow. Some water brushes have got these little buttons at the bottom, and when you press them, a big gush of water comes out. Not a big, sorry, I'm exaggerating, but a few drops extra of water come out of the brush at the end. And if you're doing a piece, and it's happened to me many times before, if you're like, you've applied some watercolor pencil to a piece, and then you go to wet it, and this big blob of water just falls out and hits your page, it can be pretty annoying. So the Pentel water brushes are just another little thing that would fit perfectly into a stocking, and if the artist that you're giving it to, or you yourself, really enjoy using water soluble pencils or graphite or anything like that, these little brushes are great, especially for out and about. Next up is the Slice products. Now, there's a lot of alternatives out there in the market. A lot of color pencil artists use like X-Acto knives, things like that, to create fine details, fine hair through the layers of color pencil whenever they are doing wildlife or animals or human hair, that type of thing. But Slice have brought these products out and the advantage that they have over the likes of the X-Acto knife is that the blade that is on them is ceramic. So although they can still cut the paper and things like that, there's a safety aspect to them. But when I've used the X-Acto knife on occasions, I've maybe been a little bit too heavy-handed and cut some, actually sliced the paper. With the ceramic knives, you don't get any of that. Now, the ceramic products were originally invented because the man who had invented them, his son had autism, and so there wasn't many products out there. I think from what I can understand, his son wanted to be a little bit more independent, live on his own type thing. He was getting to that age, and so this man wanted to be able to create safe products that he was going to be able to use, and so he came up with these Slice products. Like I say, there are many different types of products, but the knives that the knife that I'm showing you here is perfect for what we use it for as artists, due to the fact that it's very similar in appearance and weight and everything to an X-Acto knife, but it just, like I say, it just has this safety aspect to it, and it's less likely to cut the paper, and it, in my opinion, it gives much crisper lines. It's much easier to control than the X-Acto knife. Next up is the Strathmore Tone Tan soft leather or soft covered journal. Now, this Strathmore Tone Tan paper is amazing. A lot of artists use it. It's fantastic. You can get spiral bound ones as well, but I have these soft cover journals, these Strathmore soft cover journals. I have a mixed media one, tone tan, and a tone grey one, but there's just, I think they look very luxurious, but they're not that expensive. and I almost said leather because they look like leather and they feel like leather, although they're not. But they have that really luxurious feel to them. And I know sometimes when you get a journal, a sketch journal, and it looks really luxurious, people are frightened to start, doing art in them. They don't want to make mistakes in it and stuff like that. They have this idea that they're going to fill it and it's going to be perfect. Obviously that's down to yourself, but that's not what sketch journals are for. They're for you doing your own creations. You don't have to show it to anybody, so don't worry about what it looks like. But I just love these Strathmore, these particular journals, these soft covered journals that they do, and in particular the Tone Tan one. The Tone Tan paper is just beautiful. Next up is the Tombow Mono Eraser. Now, every colour pencil artist should have one of these in their toolkits. They are just amazing. I know that a lot of people use the battery operated erasers now as well, and they have their place, don't get me wrong. In fact, I have one in this list. But the little Tombow Mono Eraser also has its place as well, especially for things like graphite artists or colour pencil artists, when you are wanting to just, take your time and maybe create a very faint interpretation of like a hair coming off somebody's head or something like that. With the battery operated erasers, they can be quite they're going to mostly create quite vivid lines whenever you use them because of the power behind them. But the Tombow Mono Eraser just gives you that little bit more control, where you can create the power yourself just by putting pressure on or taking a little bit of pressure off. So I really like the Tombow Mono Eraser, and I think nearly every graphite artist or every colour pencil artist should definitely have one in their toolkit. Next up is the Caran d'Ache 15 set Gouache Set. Now, the reason I love this is because this little set reminds me of little watercolor pan sets that you would get when you were kids. And I know they're not watercolors, they're gouache. And I'll explain why I've put gouache in there. Or I've selected gouache over watercolors. This little set from Caran d'Ache is just perfect. Like I say, there's 15 in it. But there's the white is a tube of white gouache. Artists who use gouache tend to use white a lot, and obviously white is going to help you tone down colours, or whenever you're mixing and creating. And with there being 15 colours inside this, you're going to be able to create lots of different colours, lots of different values within those colours as well. There's also a paintbrush inside this set. Now, I have this set, which I'll be doing a review of. It'll probably be after Christmas, but the brush that's inside this set, this comes down to Caran d'Ache, the way they manufacture their products and the level of worth that they put in their products. This is a relatively small, inexpensive set, yet though the brush that's inside it is just beautiful. It's, if not for anything, the buying the set, the brush itself is worth the money for the price that you pay for the set. But it's gouache, and like I say, over watercolors, there's lots of amazing watercolor sets out there, pan sets. Gouache just gives you that little bit more vividness, and because I've just recently had some gouache and used it and stuff like that, I really like it. I think it's a great medium, and I think it's fantastic for expressive art and real vivid colors, things like that. So that's why I have that in this list. Next up is the Derwent USB Eraser. Now, this is, again, coming back to these powered erasers. The thing I really like about this one is the shape of it, the way that it's angled. When you're using it, it's like a pen, but it kind of like rests in between your forefinger and thumb, and it rests on the palm of your hand, just the way it angles back like that. And it's a really comfortable thing to use. And, in terms of power, in terms of erasing or anything like that, it does exactly the same as any other USB powered or battery powered eraser on the market. My main reason for putting it in here is the shape of it, the way that it sits in your hand and the comfort that it gives you. But also, because of that shape, I think that it allows you to be a little bit more detailed in the work that you do when you're erasing things, because obviously all of us color pencil artists and graphite artists know that erasers are not necessarily for getting rid of mistakes. They're for actually drawing with as well. So that's why I have this Derwent USB. And obviously the fact that it's USB powered as well means you're not going to be buying batteries for it all the time, which is the case with the old Derwent battery eraser. This one is USB powered, and so you just plug it in, charge it overnight, and then when you come down in the morning, you're good to go. Finally is this little Taiyo electric sharpener. Now it's very, very inexpensive, so you're not going to get the level of electric sharpener that you would do from some of those like those really, really expensive electric sharpeners. You're not going to get that level of service from it. I got this because it was recommended to me by somebody to do a review on it, and I eventually got it. And for the price of this thing, it's powered. You can either put batteries in it or you can plug it in, and it's electrically powered. So you can take it away with you. You can take it on the go with you, but it works perfectly. Now the only downside to it is that it doesn't take some of the thicker pencils, like the Derwent drawing pencils, something like that. It struggles with those. But other pencils, like for example, the Prismacolor Premier pencils, it sharpens them like a dream. The Caran d'Ache Pablo, the Faber-Castell Polychromos, pencils like that, in that kind of like size bracket, this little electric sharpener is amazing, and the point that you get from it is excellent as well. And for some reason it doesn't seem to, maybe it's just my psychological view looking at this, but any electric sharpeners I've used in the past, they seem to eat away at the pencil. You put it in and it comes out and it looks like it's half gone, but this doesn't seem to do that. But it's a really nice, and like I say, all the prices for these will be over on the written review. And this time, not like I did the other night when I released the videos for the other gift guides, the Christmas gift guides, I forgot to upload the written reviews which have the links and the prices. So this time I promise I'll get all those out at exactly the same time. But the prices for all of these products will be over on the written review, and I can assure you they are really inexpensive, nice, cheap little products that are going to last a long time, that are going to be valuable to the person that you're buying it for, more importantly. And all of these are going to fit in your stockings and what have you. So these are my art gift guide things to anybody that's looking something really special to put in somebody's stocking this Christmas. Thanks very much, guys. I look forward to seeing you all again in the next video. I'm going to start now that I've got all these giveaways and Christmas things out of the way. I'm going to start back up with the reviews. So thanks very much for being very patient with me, guys. I look forward to seeing you all again very soon. Bye.